And thank you for joining us. I am Ernie Zuniga.
And I'm Myra Arthur. A girl takes 3 weapons to a Northside ISD high school, and now she is in custody.
So this is where it unfolded right here. School leaders say she was able to get into the school through the main campus doors, and she was not a student there.
So in a letter to parents, the Warren High School principal stated the girl said that she wanted to register as a student. Now, at some point, staff members became suspicious and they notified school officials. Administrators and NISD police officers confronted that girl as she tried to leave the school, and that's when they found those 3 weapons. It's unclear what kind of weapons they were.
School officials say there is no ongoing threat to students or staff. The girl's identity has not been released because she is a minor.
All right, we want to get right to the forecast because you heard Adam mention it earlier. We have a real cold front to talk about.
Real deal. Yeah.
Legit.
Finally going to feel like fall. I mean, it's not going to make it like super cold outside, but finally going to feel like fall.
It's a start.
It is a start. And I do think, as we're in our last few days of October here, that it will be just enough to prevent 2025 from being the warmest October on record.
Oh, we got so very close.
No
kidding.
We had the most 90-degree days in October and almost the warmest on record. So let's take a look at the front, what it's going to do to afternoon high temperatures. So still warm tomorrow. That's the key. Yes, the front arrives tomorrow, but it's still going to be a warm day at 88 degrees. You'll notice a lot of humidity for most of the day. And then things change. Wednesday, we're down to 68 for the high. Thursday, right near 70. And Friday, we're in the mid-70s. Then we warm back up closer to 80 and in the low to mid-80s by this time next week. So noticeable changes on the way. This is one of those stronger cool fronts that we see this time of year. It takes temperatures from the 80s down into the 60s for afternoon highs. I mean, just within a day, it does that. Morning temperatures will go from the 60s and even near 70 degrees tomorrow morning down into the 40s. So a significant drop in those morning temperatures. Have the hoodie sweatshirt ready for the bus stop, the light jacket later on this week because you're going to need it. And of course, the humidity is going to be swept away. By tomorrow evening, the humidity is pretty much gone. No cool air across the state yet. Okay, we still waiting on that cooler air to push in, a lot of it coming from the northern plains. So tomorrow is kind of the transition day for the state of Texas. Notice as we go through the day tomorrow, we'll still make it into the near 70 in the morning, then upper 80s by the afternoon. Then the front moves through and really does its job temperature-wise for Wednesday and the rest of the week. Other noticeable changes with this front and the winds in just a bit.
All right, Adam, thank you. It was, in fact, a tornado that touched down in our area late Friday. The National Weather Service confirms it was an EF1 tornado that happened about 11:35 p.m. Friday night as those storms moved through South Texas. It moved 20 miles across parts of Kendall and Comal counties with winds reaching about 110 miles an hour. That tornado stretched some 300 yards, and you can see here there was some damage, but no reports of any injuries. Here on your screen, you can see the aftermath went out to the neighborhoods that were hit by that tornado, and we went back again today. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll have the latest on the cleanup efforts.
San Antonio police say fists flew and then bullets, leaving one man wounded. The violence happened this morning in the parking lot of a motel near Loop 1604 and Bandera Road. Police say 2 men who were at odds over a woman got into a fight that led to that shooting. The 26-year-old victim then tried to drive off but crashed his car a few miles away. He suffered a broken leg in addition to his gunshot wounds. Police say the 40-year-old suspect also tried to leave the area but did not get very far.
He was located down the street. We happened to have other officers in the area, and he was picked up without incident.
Now, a witness told us that all of this played out in front of the woman who was at the center of the men's dispute, as well as her young child. Now, they were not hurt, but the witness says he had a close call with the gunfire. We'll have his story coming up on KSAT 12 News at 6.
A downtown street is now back open after a partial scaffolding collapse. Crews called for an emergency closure of East Commerce between Soledad and North Flores Street Friday afternoon. That's after SAPD says the bottom portion of scaffolding on a 10-story building there began collapsing and workers inside had to evacuate. This afternoon, KSAT confirmed East Commerce is now back open and no one was hurt.
Well, more than 284,000 people in Bexar County are scrambling to figure out where their next meals will come from.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture says SNAP benefits will not go out this Saturday. That's November 1st. The USDA says the, quote, well has run dry to fund the food stamp program. Our Daniela Ibarra is live from the San Antonio Food Bank this evening, where they are trying to fill the gap. So, Daniela, any idea how long supplies there will last?
Myra, I asked the food bank that exact question just an hour ago, and they told me that they have about a month's worth of supply sitting in the warehouse right now, and that food bank has been incredibly busy. This alleyway that I'm standing in, more than 300 cars drove by it this afternoon to pick up boxes of food, and we spoke with a couple of those families who say they expect to be here a lot more often. Putting food in trunks so families have something on their tables.
You struggle every day with even just paying the bills, to try to get ahead.
Linda Moon relies on the San Antonio Food Bank and food stamps. So now with the benefits being put on pause, do you think you'll be coming here a lot more often?
Yeah, I'm coming more often. I have been coming more often, and now with all this that's going on, it's going to be more.
It is a little nerve-wracking. It's a little trying not to worry about how we're gonna make it.
Valerie Noriega is looking for a job to support her family. Figuring out how she'll feed them is stressful.
It's a little upsetting because it does help a lot for our family. I have 3 kids and a grandbaby.
What's your biggest worry? Maria Gomez says she takes care of a teenage boy who's always asking for food.
Gonna hurt a lot of people.
The food bank CEO says nobody should be hungry. He's anticipating needing 50% more food than normal and needing more volunteers and donors. And I know this food bank said that they're ready to empty their shelves to help people like you.
Yes, and I'm very, very grateful for the help that we as citizens get.
And if your family relies on any federal benefits like food stamps, I want you to pull out your phone and scan that QR code on your screen. We want to share your story about how this federal shutdown is impacting you, whether that's food stamps or food, housing, and health care. Ernie?
Daniela, thank you. Throughout the shutdown, the Trump administration has moved funds around to protect other programs. But for SNAP, it now says the emergency fund is only for Americans in disaster areas and must be approved by Congress. So the shutdown has also impacted air travel, with air traffic controllers among those forced to work without pay, leading to staffing delays when anyone calls out.
In court today, the defense delivering a major blow to the state's case. This happened in the trial of 3 former San Antonio police officers accused in the 2023 killing of Melissa Perez. The state planned to call at least 3 expert witnesses on law enforcement policy, but the defense objected to them being allowed to testify. One of the defense attorneys argued that none of the state's experts had any personal knowledge of the night Perez was shot and killed by Eleazar Alejandro, Alfred Flores, and Nathaniel Villalobos.
Judge, we would put before the court that an officer like Huber, an officer like Sandoval, has no personal knowledge, was not at the scene during the incident, and is therefore only coming in to offer an opinion.
The court will grant the defense objections related to any experts that will be offered to testify on officer policy.
So that means now those 3 experts are not allowed to testify in this trial. The state did call up one of Perez's friends to testify about her mental health. The 3 former officers on trial shot and killed Perez in June of 2023 when she was reportedly having a mental health crisis. We are live streaming this trial on all of our KSAT digital platforms, and testimony is expected to continue tomorrow morning.
Well, tonight, a 23-year-old man accused of murder sleeps in jail. Shiatik Wilson has been arrested for murder in connection with the shooting. It happened Sunday morning in a neighborhood near Old Seguin Road and Walsham Road. Preliminary report states that the victim, who has not been identified, suffered a gunshot wound to his chest. At this time, investigators are still working to determine what led up to the shooting. Deputies have not said what evidence they found that linked Wilson to the crime. We reached out for more details, but so far have not heard back.
Early voting is still underway for the November 4th election. And as of yesterday, October 26th, more than 66,000 people in Bexar County had cast their ballot. Today, polls will close at 7 p.m. But if you can't make it out tonight or haven't yet, the last day to early vote is October 31st. That is this Friday. Polls will open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. So now we like to show you which have been some of the busiest and the slowest polling locations in Bexar County. As of yesterday, here's the top 3 busiest locations: Brook Hollow Branch Library, Lyons Field Adult and Senior Center, and the Igo Branch Library. The top 3 slowest were St. Philip's College, Frank Garrett Multi-Service Center, and Macedonia Baptist Church.
Hi, did you get a chance to make it out to Muertos Fest this weekend? It was pretty good. This year's Muertos Fest drew a crowd despite construction and some weather concerns. Visitors showed up honoring and showing their respect to their loved ones. The celebration honors traditional art, music, and had more than 80 altars. Muertos Fest is one of the largest festivals in the country, and it attracts people from all over. Now, if you were not able to make it out in person, we will air a special rebroadcast of this event this coming Wednesday, October 29th at 8 p.m. It will be filled with stories behind the altars, musical performances, a procession, and a whole lot more.
An update to the trial of the man accused of assassinating conservative activist Charlie Kirk. I'm ABC's Melissa Adon with new details from court.
Okay, let's take a look outside here at 5:09 right now on this Monday afternoon. 410 at Blanco. Things looking pretty good. Typical rush hour 5 o'clock traffic right now. We're not aware of any major accidents right now, but we're going to continue to keep an eye on things for you. And of course, we will let you know if anything changes on the roads. A ruling today in the case of the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. At issue was whether Tyler Robinson could wear civilian clothing in court during his upcoming legal proceedings.
ABC's Melissa Adon has the latest from Los Angeles.
The first time we saw the suspect accused of assassinating conservative activist Charlie Kirk, he was wearing a suicide preventative vest during his arraignment.
We're here on the Tyler James Robinson motion to appear in civilian clothing.
Today, the judge in the case deciding Tyler Robinson will be allowed to wear civilian clothes and not a prisoner uniform. But the judge ruling Robinson will still have to wear restraints and shackles during future court appearances.
The court finds that Mr. Robinson's right to the presumption of innocence outweighs the minimal inconvenience of permitting civilian attire.
Robinson appearing virtually for today's hearing in Provo, Utah, but his camera was turned off. Attorneys for Robinson had argued letting him wear street clothes was necessary to maintain the presumption of innocence before any potential jury of his peers.
Mr. Robinson sits before this court presumed innocent, and that presumption remains unless and until each element of every offense charged against him is proved beyond a reasonable doubt.
Prosecutors in the Utah County Sheriff's Office had argued Robinson should be restrained or even appear remotely for safety reasons. Robinson is charged with aggravated murder and prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. The 22-year-old is also charged with felony discharge of a firearm, causing serious bodily injury, obstruction of justice, 2 counts of witness tampering, and commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child, according to Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray. Gray last month announced the charges, calling Kirk's death an American tragedy.
I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently.
Robinson's next court date is now set for January. The judge says Robinson will appear in person at this next court date. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Some good news for those in need of a Thanksgiving meal this year. The Raul Jimenez Thanksgiving Dinner is offering the option to have meals delivered, and you can register for a meal right now. The nonprofit organization is asking those in need to call 211, choose your preferred language, and then select option 1 for delivery. They'll still host the in-person Thanksgiving dinner that draws thousands of people every year. This delivery option is in addition to that.
Okay, and well, I was going to say, there's a look at the convention center, right?
Yeah, where all those people go every year for that San Antonio tradition. This is a pretty cool, unusual view for us from live cam. I like it.
Yeah, it's like bird's eye view, if you will.
Yeah, more importantly, I like the weather we're about to talk about.
Yeah, we've been waiting, we've been patient, we've been anxiously awaiting the first noticeable cool front, right? I mean, this isn't going to bring winter right away, but it's going to bring fall for several days. So this is a real deal cool front that we're anticipating. Just look at the morning low temperatures. So these are for sunrise temperatures. Tomorrow, still warm at 70 and humid with fog. More of the same tomorrow morning. But then by Wednesday morning, we're down to 52. Look at Thursday and Friday, down to 45 for the morning low temperature. It's been over 200 days since we've been that cool. It was back in early April the last time we had temperatures that cool. So tomorrow's still, generally speaking, warm. 70 in the morning, 82 at noon. By 3 o'clock, we're up to 88 degrees. And then the cold front hits and temperatures fall off. And by 9 p.m., we're 67. Notice the wind picking up in the afternoon. It's going to be pretty gusty later in the day. The first part of the day, a south wind at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. But once that cool front hits around 3 p.m., those winds pick up very quickly. So afternoon and evening outdoor activities, gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour. And that's going to be the case through tomorrow night and then all the way through Wednesday as well. So the Halloween inflatables, make sure they're deflated by 3 p.m. tomorrow. And unplug them for tomorrow night and even on into Wednesday. And by the way, because of the high wind and the very dry air that's getting pushed in, we do have the fire weather watch for a good chunk of our area. Doesn't mean the weather's going to cause fires, but if you were to burn, keep in mind, burn bans are in place in many areas, in most areas. But if, say, a fire did start or somebody burned, it would spread really quickly. So it's humid out there right now. One element of potential fire spreading conditions, humidity. Dew points in the 60s right now. It's muggy outside. Actually, dewies were 70 earlier today. And look what happens. Tomorrow we start the day humid with the fog because of the high humidity. Still at 3 o'clock, humid, dew point near 70, but are already starting to drop in the hill country. Then that front moves through, pulls in that drier, less humid air, the fall-like air. Then during the day on Wednesday, dew points are down in the 30s, and the relative humidity, the percentage, the relative humidity is only going to be about 13% on Wednesday with the high winds. That's why if there were to be a fire on Wednesday, it would spread rapidly. Luckily, we did just get a little bit of rain, so the vegetation isn't quite as dry. Notice the dew point's still low for the rest of the week then, and bump up just a little bit by the weekend and next week. So let's talk about what's causing this big upper level low, plunging southward, pulling the cooler air southward. The core of the cooler air will be east of us in the eastern third of the country, but we're still going to be impacted by it. And then another little push until the upper level high builds back in by early next week. Basically Sunday, Monday, the upper high works back in, but we'll just be low to mid 80s then. So it will warm us back up, but it's not going to bring us back to the 90s. 88 right now, feels like 90. 88 Leon Springs, Del Rio 92, Lavernia and Seguin both at 89. Tomorrow, we're well into the 80s. 88 here in San Antonio by 3 p.m. 85 Bernie, 87 New Braunfels, even 91 Floresville, Poteet, Jourdanton. And then the temperatures fall off by tomorrow evening, basically. Gusty winds, can't emphasize that enough. Tomorrow evening, all the way through Wednesday. And look at that, 71 and 75 Thursday, Friday. Halloween's looking great.
Oh, patience is paying off.
It is.
We had no other choice, but, but it's finally happening. Thanks, Adam. All right, we're just a few games into this Spurs regular season. I think it's safe to say there is plenty of excitement for what the Spurs got going on, Larry.
Myra, that is absolutely correct. 3-0 in the regular season, 5-0 in the preseason. San Antonio Spurs are certainly looking very good right out of the gate. And a lot of that has to do with rookie Dylan Harper, who is showing off some sweet moves around the basket. And there is a new banner hanging here inside the Frost Bank Center. We got more on that coming up.
Yeah, it's just basketball at this point. I mean, just going out there, just playing my game, just trusting my ability, and just being someone where I can do whatever the team needs me to do.
Rookie Dylan Harper says his first game jitters are a thing of the past in big board sports. Good evening, everybody, and welcome live to the Frost Bank Center, where tonight the San Antonio Spurs will host the Toronto Raptors, and both are playing the second game of back-to-backs with differing results. So Toronto lost at the Dallas Mavericks yesterday, 139-129. Now the Spurs played here Sunday afternoon, and they beat the Nets 118-107. The Spurs led by as many as 26 points in the third, and then held off a Nets fourth quarter rally. Rookie Dylan Harper scored 20 points off the bench, including 7 in the final frame, to help deny Brooklyn's comeback, and he also got after it defensively.
Yeah, definitely. I think going into this game, big emphasis for me was just the defensive side and just want to help my team out however I can, whether that's playing defense, score the ball. But today I think I kind of took that stand to be one of our main defensive guys and just trying to speed the game up and make the game faster.
You know, the Spurs and their fans were also treated to a new banner yesterday, hanging here in the rafters alongside all those retired numbers. Check it out. Without any type of ceremony, the Spurs put up a banner to honor longtime head coach Greg Popovich and his 1,390 career victories in the regular season, the most in NBA history.
That's probably the way Papa wanted, but I mean, he's been so. I feel like he's affected so many players' lives. So I feel like it's only right, especially for this organization. I feel like he's done so much. He's been such a key piece of what's just the culture here. I feel like so. Obviously, we will all want to give Pop his flowers, but you want to, for something like that, you want to do it the way he wants to do it, and I mean, it's up there and it's going to stay there forever. So that's and it's well deserved.
The Spurs and Raptors will play tonight at 7 right here at the Frost Bank Center. And congratulations to Wemby for being named the NBA's Western Conference Player of the Week. We'll be right back.
All right, quick heads up here. We have Category 5 Hurricane Melissa slowly churning south of Jamaica, already impacting the island, but likely to make landfall very soon. So take a look at this as a 5 or a 4, but I think even 5 would be most likely, hitting Jamaica into tomorrow, making landfall and then peeling off into the Atlantic, possibly impacting Bermuda as well.
Thanks, Adam. And thank you for watching the News at 5.
World News is next.